Hello everyone, I'm Brian Dragon, and welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon. Varg, I told you I'd come back for it, didn't I? Varg taps his cane on the floor, creating a shockwave of powerful energy that blasts us all across the room. The impact of the magic forces me against the wall. I collapse to my knees, pain thrumming in my head. The king collapses somewhere nearby, and I hear the crack of the box as it lands on the ground a few feet away from us. Varg holds out his hand. I take it and he helps me back to my feet. Miranda, are you all right? Yes. Miranda? The king looks at me quizzically, but his gaze does not linger. He looks toward Varg, his eyes narrowed. Did the king remember who I was? Your Majesty, are you hurt? The king shakes his head at Walt before turning his attention to Varg, his eyebrows furrowed. Who is this man? Your Majesty, this person is working for the Wicked Witches. Yeah, good alliteration. Working for the Wicked Witches. What? Wait, what happened to Jurian and Garland? They were just outside the door. What did you do to them? Varg cocks his head to the side. Who? The guards just outside this door. I'm sure they must have hidden themselves when they saw the king coming to this room, when they still should have been able to see Varg coming. Guards? I'm afraid I don't know. Let's run again. Guards? I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about, Princess. Varg seems like he is telling the truth, but I cannot trust him. Please, let them be safe. I see Neverland a few feet from us. I can try to grab it, but Varg will probably thwart my attempt with magic. I have to wait for an opening. I'll distract him. While I do that, both of you need to run. What? I eye Varg. He looks at the three of us with his lips slightly quirked, as if he is amused. Stay with him. That's what my gut's telling me. No. Miranda, we must prioritize the king's safety. I will help you. I do not know how, but I must do something. But we are in this together, Waltz. I am not going to run away while you sacrifice yourself for us. Waltz's disapproval is clearly written on his face, but he eventually sighs, seeming to let it go. No time. Let's listen to the old gut. You're too stubborn for your own good. So I've been told. I turn to the king and place a hand on his shoulder. Your Majesty, leave this to us. You have to escape somewhere safe. This does not involve the king. It is me that Varg wants after all. The king shakes his head as he removes my hand from his shoulder. He stands up and moves in front of us before pulling his sword from his sheath. Your Majesty! What? What kind of king would I be if I stepped back and allowed two children to protect me? Varg looks amused by our conversation. You know what? I'm not letting you get away this time. You know that I'm not letting you get away this time, Princess. It doesn't matter who stands in my way. Fall, his cane is enchanted. You cannot hold him with just a blade. Faller? I am at a loss for words. It has been a long time since I called him that. Much to my surprise, the king's lips fall into a soft smile. You said that at the gates that one day, when you were seeking an audience with me. I have never been able to forget that day. Before I can say anything in return, A familiarly smooth voice breaks the ensuing silence. Oh, I wonder where all these voices are coming from. A familiar man steps into the doorway. He inspects everyone in the room quietly. Mythros, Your Majesty. Oh, jeez, need to make the merciless voice for Mythros. Making the merciless voice for Mythros. That actually works quite well. Quickly summon the knights. We have an intruder in the palace. He gestures at Vork and looks unperturbed. An intruder, you say? Sir Mythros turns to Varg. At first his expression is impassive, but then slowly his lips begin to edge into a sly smile. You're such a ruffian, Varg. Look at this property destruction. I can only gape at Sir Mythros in shock. If he knows Varg, then he's most certainly affiliated with the witches. Oh, you have no idea. You knowless man? Explain yourself, Mythros. We are all thrown off guard by Sir Mythros' laughing. Soon his laugh becomes a mad cackle. There's a strange brightness in his eyes that sends shivers down my spine. Probably nothing. My apologies, Your Majesty. I am just amused at my servant's atrocious behavior. At ease, Varg. Sir Mythros gestures at Varg, a sudden command to lower his cane. Varg obeys him before moving to a corner of the room and leaning against the wall with disinterest. Don't worry, Your Majesty. You're not the one we are after. What? Sir Mythros turns his sly smile on me, and I instinctively take a step back. The princess is the lady we need to escort. Escort? Princess? This girl is a princess? That is correct. It is a shame you cannot remember your own daughter, even though she stands right in front of you. Enough with your vagueness. Explain yourself. The king's grip on the hilt of his sword tightens. I am not obliged to explain everything to you. Try thinking on your own for a change, Your Majesty. Mythros. Sir Mythros Sir Mythros ignores the king's outburst and turns his attention to Waltz. He visibly stiffens, and his sly smile contorts into a grimace. And look who we have here. I see the traitor that has returned. I see the traitor has returned to the palace. Waltz stares at him, looking puzzled. Sir Mythros tilts his head to the side and offers Waltz a lopsided smile. You look the same as you did back then. I did not think it was possible for you to grow any weaker. Waltz Cresswell. Oh, so he's got a surname, does he? Mythros, I see. Waltz suddenly looks melancholy as he stares at Sir Mythros. Waltz, what is going on? This man's real name is Myth, and he's a witch, same as me. It appears that he has been using a powerful glamour to conceal his real identity. Really, and you couldn't tell that from his alias of Mythros. Good lord, that's not even a good alias. That would be like me just changing the spelling of my name from Y to I. If I hadn't been cursed, I would have been able to tell right away. I would not give yourself so much credit, Cresswell. Waltz narrows his eyes but says nothing. I glance between the two of them, confused. But how do you know him? He secretly worked for your mother, practically worshipped her. I was the only person who knew of his existence as a rich outside of a tenebrarum bearer. A witch? I trusted you, Methros. The king says the words through gritted teeth, his face contorted in anger. Sir Methros flicks a wrist. It is a dismissive gesture, and he still looks amused. What a hypocrite you are, your majesty! He eyes Waltz. You're willing to play with some witches, but not others. This bias is what drove us witches to madness in the first place. Sir Mithros faces the king with a grin. You human hypocrites are so easy to manipulate. It is pathetic. Mithros! The king charges towards Sir Mithros with his sword held high. Your Majesty, don't! The king's sword never touches Sir Methros. Sir Methros only has to hold out his hand, and suddenly an invisible force. Yeah, this one again. Sir Methros only has to hold out his hand, and suddenly an invisible force pushes the king back. He crashes into one of my shelves, knocking down my dolls. Your Majesty! I quickly went to his side and helped him up. Thankfully, he does not seem to have any major wounds. You think there was a witch working in this one again? You think there was a witch working in the palace the whole time? Not the and not the good kind of witch either. I was too careless. Rejoice, your majesty. I shall have more surprises for you. I will never forgive your... Let's do that again. I will never forgive this betrayal, Mithros. Betrayal? I'm afraid you've been played for a fool this entire time, your majesty. My loyalty has always been reserved for Lady Hilda and no one else. Myth, I cannot imagine what you would do to gain from all this. Hilda is long gone. Oh, if only. I've played all the routes I know. I know a lot. Sir Mithros' eyes flash as he turns a severe glare on Waltz. His voice is sealing with venom when he speaks. Had it not been for you, traitor, she would still be here. Wait, what? Not in this route? The king mentioned Waltz's betrayal. Sir Mithros called him a traitor. What exactly did Waltz do? Sir Mithros beckons me forward with a gesture of his hand. Now, if you please, princess, come with us if you don't want them to get hurt. Waltz immediately stands in front of me. I won't let you take her. In your current form, you don't stand a... Yeah, this one again. In your current form, you don't stand a chance. I will make certain that you never break your curse, Waltz. What? Okay. This whole thing was a setup, a trap. I'm sorry, Waltz, this was my fault. No, it was mine. The reason we came was to break my curse. My eyes once again flit from the box on the floor. Neverland is just a few steps away from me. Neverland. Waltz's eyes follow mine from the box. He leans back and whispers to me. You have to get the box and break my curse. I feel for the key inside my pocket. If Waltz's true magic is indeed sealed in that box, then releasing it might give us a chance at victory. And Mythros and Void do not seem to have caught on to the fact that the object that will break Waltz's curse is right at their feet. Okay. The king moves to stand beside Waltz and draws his sword against his body. This one again. The king moves to stand beside Waltz and draws his sword again. His body a shield. Your Majesty, I will not let you take this girl. You will have to go through me first. You can't do this. Miranda, I have always loved that name. I thought if I ever had a daughter, I would give her that name. Magic makes even the impossible possible. You must truly be my daughter, yes? Tears start to blur my vision. Oh, how disgustingly touching. It seems as if I will just have to deal with you first. No. I rush toward the box at the same time Metros casts his spell. Vork lunges toward me, his hands reaching for me, but he is too late. By the time he grabs me, I have already inserted the key into Neverland. I give it one definite twist and hear the click of the box as it pops open. Light flashes through the room, blinding me. Suddenly I feel a strong arm around me, holding me tightly, protectively. When I open my eyes, it is Waltz. I see. Even several years older, I still recognize him. Waltz? Hello, little star. Seems like the tide has turned, Meth. Waltz grins, and I see a confidence in his expression that I have never seen before. Sir Methros frowns. This one again. Sir Methros' frown has only become more severe. Fool! I will show you that I was the favorite apprentice. Be careful not to hurt the princess, Methros. Vorg's voice is almost teasing, but Sir Methros does not seem to care. I didn't plan on it. Sir Methros gestures his hand in a sweeping gesture. The beginnings of a spell gather at his fingertips. Waltz looks at me and smiles reassuringly. Now, when I say that I can protect Miranda, I definitely can. Waltz holds out his hand just before Sir Methos reaches us. An invisible barrier suddenly appears in front of us, thwarting Sir Methos' magic. Seems like I'm not as rusty as I thought I would be. Waltz snaps his fingers and effortlessly creates a dark wave that pushes both Sir Methos and Varg to the wall. Urgh! Let's go. What do we do now? The Order of Caldera. They are sworn to an oath of protection. We can rely on them. Oh, the things I know. Waltz glances down the hallway, his mouth drawn in a tight line. I see clear suspicion in his eyes. I look back at the king. The knights should have been here by now. Surely such a commotion should have brought them running. Wait, wrong voice. Oh, wait, correct voice. Maybe I wasn't paying full attention. Now I know why Waltz is staring down the hallway. He is searching for the knights that are meant to pass through here. There is no possible way they did not hear the skirmish in my bedroom. The three of us push forward. I stand between the king and Waltz, waiting. I'm not entirely sure what I am waiting for, but I can feel the tension in the air. We only stop moving when a voice cuts through the silence. Hello, Alex. You have something to say? Hi. Do you want to come up, baby? What? Hey? Hi. Where are you going? Oh, are you coming up? Alex? Hello? Yes, Alex. Sniff every object that is person to your face. Hmm. If he wants to come up, he'll come up. Isn't that right, Alex? Your Majesty! Oh. Oh. Sir Allcaster stops before us with a group of knights. His face is impassive at best. Rhodes takes a step back as Sir Owen. This one again. Rhodes takes a step back as Sir Allcaster looks to the king. The king is quiet for a few moments, his eyebrows drawn together in a terse expression. He finally speaks. I'm about to declare a state of emergency. Where have you been? Seize them! My eyes are still on the knights in front of us when I hear footsteps from behind us. I am nonplussed when a dozen knights appear from the shadows and surround us. I look for Fritz in the cluster of knights, but he is not here. The king stares around him baffled. What is the meaning of this? Could this be the reason why? Well, I played other routes, so I know the kind of person Allcaster is, and now you, dear viewers, do too. What is happening? That voice. We all turn to watch the dining room doors open. Ophelia enters with Emma Lagney and Rod. Several knights trail behind and flank them on either side, giving them no room for escape. Rod notices me and stares in shock, but says nothing. Gennaro? The moment she sees the king, she calls his name and attempts to run toward him. The knights only need to raise their swords and block her path to stop her. I think that takes care of all the intruders. Though I am not happy that two managed to escape. Two? Jerrine and Garland? If they manage to escape, they might be able to get reinforcements. The king will be judged and convicted. His crown will be given to one more worthy. I see. It was you who sent that letter, Allcaster? That is correct. Now if you want to protect your family, you will hand over your crown. The king shakes with rage. Was this yours and Mithros' plan all along, to take down this kingdom at its heart? Sir Allcaster snorts and crosses his arms. Do not clump me together with that snake. Both of us have different goals. It just so happens that we both needed to be rid of you. What? You are a weak king, Gennaro. The kingdom of Engio needs someone who will rule with an iron fist. You are too soft, and so your subjects have become too dependent on the kingdom. And how do you propose I run my kingdom? By instilling fear. There is no place for fear in this kingdom. It is a ruler's obligation to assuage the fears of his people. I cannot believe that you would do this, Sir Allcaster. Allcaster looks at me with disinterest. Miranda, correct? I have no business with you, but I suppose Mythos does. We have been backed into a corner. What do we do? I feel for my pocket, my hand touching the smooth surface of a vial. I can still remember the potion that Parfait gave me before we left. I had forgotten I had this with me. Parfait told me to use the potion if we found ourselves in a difficult situation. She said it would give us time to escape. She did not even tell me what it does. I glanced at Walt, who was eyeing the knights quietly. What to do? But it is also possible that Walt would be able to do something about this situation with his magic. I'm not going to risk it. I reach into my pocket and slip the vial out. I open my fingers just long enough for Walt to see it. He gives me a subtle nod before turning his attention to Sir Alcaster, who is still speaking with the king. I will make you regret your actions, Sir Alcaster. I throw the vial to the floor. The moment it shatters, a blinding white light envelops the room, forcing my eyes to close. Yeah, goofy cat. Walt grabs my hand and pulls me away. Don't let them escape! I hear a few grunts from the knights as Walt begins to barrel his way through them. Walt sneaks me into the throne room. We have all somehow made it out. Walt stands in between Ophelia and Emma Lagney. Walt must have pretty good eyes too to be able to lead them both out of there in all that chaos. Good job, Backler Miranda. I never realized you had a potion. Parfait gave it to me before she left on her urgent meeting. Lucky me. It's a good thing, Len. You saved me by using it. You know? Using a more complicated spell would have drained my energy. Why is this happening? Emma Lagney's eyes are filled with tears. Ophelia takes her into her arms and rubs her back in an effort to calm her. This is my fault. How could I have not foreseen this? Joreen was right about him. I should have listened to her. This is not your fault, Your Majesty. We don't have much time. We need to escape and tell Lady Parfait about this. It sounds like Joreen and Garland were able to escape. It is possible they will soon bring reinforcements. Rod, you know these people? Rod is silent for a moment. Let's run that again. Rod is silent for a few moments before nodding at her. Yes, they're my friends. Friends? Rod just shrugs at me. More than likely, he just wants us to play along. Rod paces the room, his arms crossed as he tries to think of something. Waltz? I haven't done this in a long time, but I can try to open a portal that leads back to the Marchen. Witches can do that? Only the most practiced witches. It only works if they have a clear image of where they want to go. So, you can do it? I can. I was taught by your mother, after all. Walt starts waving his hand in front of him as he conjures a spell to open the portal. But the portal disappears as soon as it appears and fades again. Damn it! They are coming! Walt! I'm doing my best, Princess. Walt tries to cast the spell again. This time the opening appears and stays. I did it! But this won't... Wait, who's talking? But this won't be over for long. Your Majesty, you go first. No, let Ophelia and the children go first. Walt nods as he ushers Ophelia and Emma Lagney into the portal. Though Walt is reluctant to step inside, I force him into the portal before me. I can't keep the portal open much longer, Miranda. I can manage one more person before I need to recast it. Your Majesty, you must go. No. What? I do not have any intention of leaving. To leave this place is to abandon my kingdom. I will not flee like a coward. I will protect my throne until my last breath. But that would be suicide. He will not kill me. He may have managed to sway the order, but I have the people on my side. Killing me would cause an uprising, and that is the last thing he will want. But if the king escaped, he would be able to fight from the outside. The castle and his crown are symbols, but he is in danger if he stays here alone. I glance at Rhodes, notice him paling. I can tell the magic is sapping his strength, making him weaker. I ball my hands into fists. I cannot leave the king here by himself. He is the king and I am the crown princess. Rhodes, you will come back for me, right? What are you? Before he can react, I put my hands on his back and push with all the strength I can muster. Walt stares at me in horror as he falls into his portal. I am sorry. Walt disappears and the portal collapses in on itself, leaving me with the king. Both my mind and heart are numb as the knights approach, ready to surround us. The king and I sit on the floor with our hands tied behind our backs. There are two knights standing by the door to watch over us. I look at the king, who remains as quiet and solemn as before. He has been so calm. Does he have a plan? Why is it that you chose to stay with me? I am surprised when he finally breaks the silence. Because there are questions I need answers to. Besides, I cannot just leave you here. I have many things I need to ask you. King Gennaro falls silent as he stares at me. The gold of his eyes clearly reflects my own. I had never realized how similar our eyes were. Is it true? Are you really my daughter? Yes, I was given the fairy tale curse and turned into a peasant. My title was stolen from me and from the minds of the people. No one remembers who I am anymore. Cinderella? How did you know? I've noticed a glass slipper necklace on your neck. Well, that other slipper seems to be missing a piece. A piece? I look down and stare at the second slipper. My eyes widen when I notice that the piece is bigger. But when did this happen? I consider and recall a moment I broke Waltz's curse. Was it when I broke Waltz's curse? This means I only have one more deed left to complete, but my birthday is tomorrow. Are you alright? Yes, I am just worried. You have been through much today. Try to get some rest. You must reserve your energy. I am unsure what he means, but either way, there is no way I could possibly sleep now. At least this is what I tell myself, but as minutes pass by, I feel my eyes get heavier. Eventually, I drift into a dreamless sleep. Miranda, you must wake up. I blink a few times, and when I come to, I find that I am leaning on the king's shoulder. I fell asleep. The king glances back from the door, his eyes narrow slightly as he takes a deep breath. It is time to go. What? I turn toward the front doors and realize that the knights guarding the room are missing. They will be back soon. We must hurry. I am surprised when the king pulls out of the ropes that were binding him. He holds a small knife in his hands. How long has he been out of his bindings? When did you free yourself? I think I have been sorely underestimated. I have been trained just as well as the knights. It goes without saying that I could get myself out of bindings. I am not so weak that I need to depend on others to protect me. It sounds like something I would say. But where did you get the knife? He made sure to take anything we had that could have been a weapon. Would it suffice to say that I pulled it from a hidden spot? Not many people think to look in a person's boots. The king leans down to cut my bindings, then lowers himself to the ground. His fingers brush the floor. What are you doing? Finding the keyhole. Ah, here we are. He pulls a small key from his pocket and fits it into a crevice in the floor. The floor gives a gentle, audible rumble. The king pulls the tile from the floor, revealing a hidden staircase. There's a hidden staircase here in the floor. An escape route, if one were ever needed. Only I know of its existence. Now, we must go before they return. I nod and follow after him. The king sets the panel in place as we descend down into darkness. The floor rumbles once more as the hidden pathway closes behind us. And that is all for today. I'm Brian Croydragon signing out. Stay Shrey!